of your retirement? Are they true?
I don't know where the word retirement came in. It was kind of a little bit.
Not mine.
No, I was the reporter.
You're not going to retire, are you?
No, I'm not going to retire. I may step down from my current position at some time. And one of the reporters had asked me, and the question originated was, if Donald Trump is the next president, would you still work for him in your capacity? And I said a very innocent but true thing. I said, whether it's Donald Trump or it's Joe Biden's second term, I don't intend to be in my current position in January of 2025. What happens between now and then, I have not decided. But the one thing I do know is that I have other things that I want to do in a professional way, that I want to have the capability while I still have the energy and the passion to do them. So I don't want to go beyond January 2025. When I step down from this position, I have not decided that yet.
So for the Twitterati.
So that was Dr. Fauci responding to the reporting from yesterday. We discussed on the show that he was going to retire, and so he was giving an important clarification there that yes, he does intend to no longer be director of the National Institute for Allergies and Infectious Diseases come 2025, regardless of whether Biden or Trump are president. But he's not retiring, so I take that to mean, Kim, I don't know what you thought, that he's leaving the door open for it to be a contributor to a TV network like CNN or MSNBC, or do a book.
Sanjay Gupta better watch out, right?
That's right, he's coming for you, Sanjay. Or do a Netflix show. I don't know. You take up I don't know, competitive something or other. No, he intends to remain, and I suspect is seeing the opportunity to become a even bigger media figure than he is currently. Right now being just a media figure, a representative for the public health bureaucracy on COVID specifically. I think he's had a taste of star power, and what could await him if he fully commits himself to that cause.
Yeah, why fade off into the sunset when your star is shining bright right now, right? I mean, I think that's what he's kind of looking at, because amongst Democrats, he is still very popular. And he's probably looking at lawmakers and thinking, well, these guys are getting old too, and they're still around. And so why not hang around with my friends, that like me and I like them. But so he's trying to say interest. I mean, look, again, he is 81 years old at the moment. So by 2025 rolls around, he's going to be mid-80s. He's early 80s right now. He'd be mid-80s. A lot of people think that already just warrants retirement. Let somebody else who's been building their career for decades. I get it. Fauci's got a lot of energy. He still seems like he's with it and sharp. I don't discount that. I don't think that there's anything wrong with his mind or ability to do the job. It's just that at some point you have to step aside and allow the next generation to come in and actually see some rewards for the work they too have put in for their careers. And that is what the elder generation should do, right? Step aside and let the next generation come in. And he's just not
to do
let
it.
They refuse to do it. That group, the boomer group, or he might even be older than the boomers, because boomers right now, I feel like at the top age are like 75 years old, right? So what are you if you're, he might be at the end of the tail end of the greatest generation.
The baby boom, counting that, like 1950s?
I think the boomers started right after World War II. So it'd be like 46, 47 is when they were born. So those guys right now are like 75 years old. So I don't even know what generation Fauci and Biden and all those guys are in. But
they're silent generation. Right, because Biden is technically not a boomer, right? He's technically silent generation.
Yeah, so I mean, my goodness, we complain about boomers running the government. These guys haven't even let the boomers take over yet.
The boomers would be the young guys. Well, I guess they have, because so the people prior to Biden wasn't I guess so. There's been no boomer president. Is that? I'm so bad at this kind of math on the spot. So Obama would be he's younger, so he's post boomer.
Sure Bush. I think W is a boomer.
They're Gen X. We've been governed by Gen X from like Clinton to.
No, I don't. No. Clinton's a boomer, and
Clinton's a boomer, right?
Yeah, Clinton's a boomer, and so is Bush, and so is Obama. I believe that Obama, it depends on his age, but the last boomers right now are around
65.
No, they're like early 60s. I think 58.
Right,
59,
they were born in
60
like
years old.
1965.
They're born in, when you get later, right? Yeah, they were born in, that's like the tail end. So I do think that most of the presidents have been, the last ones have been boomers.
So we've had boomers for a couple cycles, and then we went backward.
Yeah, but the rest of, but all these other, I mean, look, at some point, there does have to be something to be said for step aside, let someone else who's worked their careers, who are probably now retired because Fauci he outlived them, he outlasted them in his position, that the younger generation waiting for him to retire, waiting to take over, ended up retiring before Fauci even did. But, I mean, this is kind of an interesting way for him to frame it, because many of us were coming after him saying, oh, really? So you just don't want, because his statement, or what he alluded to when he said that he was retiring if Trump were to get into office, was that he didn't want to end up potentially, or were we just guessing that? Was it an actual statement? Because I'm trying to remember, because Batya.
I think maybe the media, maybe that we count as the media this time. Maybe we made too much of it, or we read too much into it, that he didn't want to work for Trump again, when he was really just saying.
Well, because he didn't want to have to deal with the consequences of the Republicans coming in, and then.
I think he did say something to that effect. No, he absolutely did say something along the lines of, maybe if I'm out sooner rather than later, there'd be less interest in having me testify. He didn't use those exact words. He said something along those lines.
And so it led us all to say, oh, so you're just worrying about yourself and your career and your reputation. And that's
he just wants to make a few. He wants to make a few million as a media star before, while he's still with it enough to do that, right? I mean, there's a big difference between 85 and 89 for some people. So
I don't know. I think he just really enjoys his job, and I think there's a lot of people around him who prop him up, especially now, and make him. He's a big celebrity at this point, so I think he's really enjoying it. This is like high time for him, and he doesn't want to let it go, and so he's holding on until he says 2025. I mean, I think he should have retired a while ago, but he's choosing not to. I think Democrats are doing themselves a disservice by not encouraging him to retire and to say, look, we need somebody else. This is, we've got a lot of, we're losing support. People are not thrilled with a pandemic response.
He was the face of pandemic restrictions. He's the face of lockdowns and of first denying that masks were important, then requiring cloth masks for 2 years, and now that actually we're come to believe that those masks are not doing really anything, and you need the better mask if you're to even have a chance of really protecting yourself.
Yeah, I personally don't think he lied the first time. I know people always dispute that, and they say, well, he lied because he said he was trying to, and then later he says, oh, well, I was just telling a noble lie because of the I wanted to save supplies. I've never actually believed that. I actually think that he was telling what he really believed the first time around. Mm-hmm. But then when sentiments shifted and people were wanting something at all, they were grasping for something to help limit the pandemic.
He preferred to sound villainous rather than wrong.
Yeah, I think he thought in his mind that if he just came out and said, well, I just said that, you're right, they do, everybody do this.
It's all part of the plan.
But I only said that because XYZ. But really, when you look back at all the previous statements that were made well before the pandemic, most of the experts were in agreement, thinking certain things, along those lines. I know we can't really talk as freely as we'd like, so having to kind of couch our statements a bit. But I do think that experts were in agreement quite a bit when it came to that subject. And then the attitude shifted, I think, largely because the people wanted something. And so they were trying to help calm people's fears and help people, just, okay, we're doing something. Here's the something.
And then it became a tribal signifier. Then it became, okay, you're wearing your mask. That's how I know you're a Democrat. That's how I know you don't like Donald Trump, et cetera. And endures.
And now we're back into where the experts are saying, well, okay, yeah, they do a little. It's not as great. So now we're kind of back to square one with it. Yeah. So, but Fauci is flip-flop on so many things. He said so many things back and forth without just saying, look, we don't know. This is how science works. We're unsure. We're just throwing everything out the wall. We're doing what we can, and we'll keep you posted. Whenever we find something new, we'll keep you updated on that. And that is not the way it's been. And so Fauci, for many of us, is just the face of.
And that's without even getting into any of the, the gain of function stuff. The fact that he's one of the foremost public advocates of this kind of research that a lot of people think might have been responsible for the situation we find ourselves in. So
I mean, at this point, they should ask, what has he been right about? Like, just give me one thing. Like, what was the one thing that, okay, Fauci did a good job
representation for Italian
on this one
Americans
thing.
like myself?
I mean, I guess that's the one thing he did.
All right. We'll look forward to his next career pivot, whenever that is. But it's cool to break a little bit of news here. That was footage from a Hill event that just happened. So you're seeing that here first, and we'll have more Rising right after this.